Hello, boys and girls. How are you today? Today we are going to learn a little bit about a farm, and our first book that I'm going to read to you is about a farmer who wants to plant a garden, and he's having a little bit of problem with some rabbits. And this book is called Muncha, Muncha, Muncha. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. So there is where he lives. And he dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty and growing yummy, yummy vegetables and getting all of them for himself that he could eat. But he never tried it until this spring, said Mr. McGreely. This spring, I'm going to do it. I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed and he sowed and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. McGreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh vegetables. And there he is. So there, look at those little rabbits. They're going to be a problem. But one night, when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry rabbits appeared. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his gnarled sprouts, he was very angry. So he built a small wire fence around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, nobody can get into my garden now. So there he is. He has a nice little fence around it. And the sun went down and the moon came up. And tippy, 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 pat. Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely, turn this a little bit so you can see the picture better. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his nibbled leaves, gnarled sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall all around his vegetable garden. Hump, he huffed. Those floppy ears will never get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. What do you think? Let's find out. And the sun went down and the moon came up. Tippy, 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 pat. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. Uh-oh. What do you think? Look at his mouth. It's wide open. Do you think he's happy? Do you think he's excited about this? No, not at all. Let's find out what Mr. McGreely does now. So Mr. McGreely, the next morning, saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnarled sprouts. He made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. Look at that. Ha, he snorted. Those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get into my garden now. What do you think is going to happen? Think they're going to get in? Think those bunnies can figure it out? Let's find out. Here we go. And the sun went down and the moon came up. Tippy, 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 pat. Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring, hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chopped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. Furious is a big word. It means he was so mad he didn't even know what to think or what to do. So he hammered and he blocked and he sawed and he stalked and he drilled and he filled and he trapped and he locked and he built a huge, enormous thing before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitched whiskers for sure, he exclaimed. They can't get through it. They can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now. That's pretty crazy that he built all that just to protect his vegetables. So let's look at the whole thing. Look at how big that is. What do you think? Are they going to get in? Do you think they're smart enough to figure it out? Let's find out. They're pretty smart bunnies so far. And then the sun went down and the moon came up. Tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and they smelled and they touched the huge, enormous thing. And tippy, 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 pat. The bunnies hopped away. He didn't get in. They couldn't get in. And look at them. There they are. The next morning when Mr. McGreely saw his untouched vegetables, guess how he felt? He was happy. So there he is. There's a picture of Mr. McGreely. And he's a very happy, happy guy right now. And there he is, jumping around. He's so excited. And I beat the bunnies, he whooped. And he did a jiggly wiggly victory dance. And he climbed over. And he jumped over the rocks. And he squeezed between. And he crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. Ah, sighed Mr. McGreely, at last, smacking his lips. He picked and he pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and with his basket overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. What do you think he saw? Do you see what I see? Let's find out. Look what was in his basket. Those 3 silly rabbits. They had got inside his basket. Muncha, muncha, muncha. So you know what Mr. McGreely decided to do? He decided to share his vegetables with the rabbits. And I think he's much happier sharing them than getting mad at them. I hope you enjoyed that book, boys and girls. It's kind of a fun one. And I hope you're having a great day today. I love you, and I will see you soon.